What if retirement wasn't about grinding until 65 and then finally relaxing? And what if financial freedom didn't mean crushing yourself to save every last dollar so you could quit working forever in your 40s? What if there was a better way, one where you could enjoy more freedom now without risking your financial future? Here's the uncomfortable truth. Most high achievers either spend decades chasing financial security with moving goalposts or sprint to an early and abrupt finish, only to realize too late that they never actually built real freedom. In this video, I'll show you the 5 biggest mistakes that keep millionaires from living life on their terms, and more importantly, how to fix them so you can challenge the retirement status quo and start designing your ideal lifestyle today. Most high achievers set financial goals the way they set business goals, by chasing big numbers. If I hit 5 million, 10 million or more, I'll finally be free. But here's the problem. Even when they reach that number, many still don't feel free. Instead, they either keep grinding, unsure if they have enough, or they stop working entirely only to feel lost without the structure and purpose they once had. The real mistake is they never actually define financial freedom. Instead of designing a lifestyle they truly want, they default to the traditional retirement model or overreact by trying to escape work entirely. And both of those can leave you feeling just as trapped. If you don't know what your ideal balance of work and freedom looks like, you're just guessing when to slow down or if you should at all. And from my experience, most people keep pushing not because they need more money, but because they don't know what else to do. Work has given them structure, purpose, and a clear direction, which is a good thing. But instead of stepping back, they just keep going, defaulting to what they've always done, even when they don't have to anymore. So what's the problem? Without a clear vision, you're either working by habit or quitting without a plan, both of which can leave you feeling stuck. Financial freedom isn't about having enough, it's about knowing what you're working toward. If you don't define that, you might hesitate to take more time off, travel, or shift into a more flexible lifestyle, simply because you don't have a vision for what that looks like. So instead of asking, how much do I need to retire? Ask yourself, how much do I need to live the way I want now while still keeping my financial future secure? That's your real freedom number. And the key isn't just knowing the number, it's structuring your spending and investments in a way that supports it. Because even if you have all the money in the world, if you don't know how to use it, you'll either hoard it out of fear or spend it too aggressively and then regret it later. And that brings us to the second big mistake, having no strategy for how to actually spend your money wisely in the next phase of life. I see this all the time. People who have more than enough wealth but still struggle with spending. Some overspend early, enjoying their wealth without considering taxes, market downturns, or other unexpected expenses. But more often I see the opposite. People who could be traveling more, working less, or spending time on passion projects, but they don't because they're hesitant to touch their money. I was just talking with a client the other day. Her financial plan showed she could easily spend more, but she said, I know I just don't feel like I can. That mindset is incredibly common. When you've spent decades in accumulation mode, shifting to spending can feel unnatural. And without a strategy, both overspending or underspending can lead to stress and regret. The mistake isn't just in how much you spend, it's in how you structure it. Some people flip from saving to spending overnight without a real transition plan. That's why so many either hold back too much or spend reactively. But beyond just the numbers, your spending should align with what actually matters to you. Another client told me that traveling and exploring the world was a top priority. But when I asked about their last big trip, they realized they hadn't gone anywhere in 5 years. Their plan showed that they could afford it, but they weren't following through. If your money isn't helping you live the life you want, then what's the point? The best way to gain confidence in your spending is to have a strategy that adapts over time. One of the best ways to do this, in my opinion, is using risk-based guardrails, having the option to spend more when the market is strong, and then adjusting when needed. It's not about extreme budgeting, it's about adjusting wisely so you never feel like you're overspending or underliving. Another piece is structuring your investment buckets, including having money set aside for the short term, primarily using cash and bonds, while keeping your long-term investments growing in stocks or other growth assets. This way you're not forced to sell growth assets at the wrong time just to cover expenses. But what also helps maximize your spending ability is just by keeping more money in your pocket, and proactive tax planning is one of the biggest but often ignored ways to do that. If your income fluctuates from year to year, whether it because you're working less, consulting, you're selling a business, or just shifting into a more flexible lifestyle, that creates both risks and opportunities. The mistake I see is too many people focus on keeping taxes as low as possible this year rather than thinking about how to minimize taxes over their lifetime. And that short-term mindset can lead to unexpected tax burdens later on. See, tax valleys are often created at the beginning of retirement when retirees go from working income to withdrawing more from a taxable brokerage account and paying lower overall tax rates. But here's where it becomes more nuanced. For those with an integrated lifestyle, earning some income, taking breaks, or phasing into retirement, tax valleys aren't always consistent, which is why proactive planning and oversight are essential. Now, this is where coordinating your accounts properly makes all the difference. Retirement money isn't just about how much you have, it's about where it's held and how you use it. A taxable brokerage account, a pre-tax IRA, and a Roth IRA, they all have different tax rules. And if you use them the right way, you can optimize your income and lower your lifetime tax bill. In lower income years, it might make sense to do a Roth conversion or even contribute directly to a Roth 401k when you may be so used to contributing pre-tax. Well, this helps reduce pre-tax retirement account balances, which means lower required minimum distributions down the road in your 70s, avoiding those unnecessary tax spikes. But in high income years, it may be more beneficial to continue to defer income into those pre-tax retirement accounts. Tax loss harvesting is a more popular strategy to sell investments at a loss to offset gains, but sometimes tax gain harvesting is overlooked, especially in a more integrated lifestyle. Depending on your income in a given year, you might be able to intentionally realize gains at a lower tax rate, which can be as low as 0%. On a year-by-year basis, it's about being proactive, not reactive with your tax plan. Charitable giving is also another strategic tool. A lot of our clients donate appreciated shares to a donor advised fund, which allows them to take a tax deduction in a high-income year while distributing those donations to charities over time on their own schedule. Since the fund sells the shares tax-free, they avoid the capital gains tax with the gift of shares while still getting the itemized deduction in the year they want. And when income is higher, they might give more to offset the tax impact while giving less in lower income years. So instead of just thinking about how to pay less in taxes this year, the real question is, how do you minimize taxes over your lifetime? I was speaking with a prospective client recently, and his expression said it all. He had more than enough money to live on for the rest of his life, yet he almost seemed disappointed. For years, saving and investing had given him a mission, a purpose. It gave him direction. And now that he didn't have to save anymore, he wasn't sure what to focus on next. That might sound odd, but for a lot of higher achievers, financial success is about more than security. It's about the challenge, the goal. And without that, there's a real question of what now? Because financial freedom isn't just about the numbers, it's also about the mindset. On the other side of the spectrum, I worked with someone who was earning a 7-figure income and saving a lot, but was struggling with the idea of cutting back on work. It wasn't just about the money. She had more than enough, but high-achieving work had been security for her after growing up poor. Stepping away, even partially, felt uncertain. Her demanding job was beginning to take a toll on her family. The routine, the structure, and the high income all reinforced a sense of security. Well, these emotional and psychological forces can be powerful. And the key is shifting from an accumulation mindset to a purposeful living mindset. That means aligning your wealth with your values. If saving and investing gave you a sense of direction, what will replace that? Maybe it's travel, philanthropy, mentorship, or launching a new project. The important thing is to be intentional about how you design the next phase of your life. Financial security gives you options, but without a plan for how to use those options, it's easy to feel stuck, even with plenty of money. And for those hesitant to scale back work, it helps to redefine what success looks like. Maybe it's consulting on your terms, spending more time with family, or simply having the space to explore what comes next. Financial freedom isn't just about retiring, it's about creating a life where work is choice. It's focused, it's impactful. When done right, this isn't just about saving money, it's about creating more freedom to pursue what truly matters to you and enjoy the life you've worked for. When we talk about what truly matters, family often rises to the top of that list. Most people think they've checked the box by creating a will or a trust. And while those are important, legal documents alone don't solve for the biggest dangers of money in a family: misaligned expectations, unprepared heirs, and neglected values. Legacy planning isn't just about the money, it's about passing down values, reducing stress for your family, and ensuring your wealth has the impact you intend. But too often people delay these conversations. They assume their estate plan is good enough, or their family will simply figure it out. Unfortunately, those misaligned expectations can create confusion, resentment, and even long-term rifts between loved ones. I've seen families torn apart, not because the financial plan was wrong, but because expectations weren't communicated. Heirs make different assumptions, or siblings clash over what mom and dad really wanted. On the other hand, I've also seen families who work together to use their wealth for greater impact because they took the time to communicate and plan early. The real mistake isn't just in what's left behind, it's in how it's passed on. Without the right structure, unnecessary taxes, legal hurdles, and family conflicts can reduce the effectiveness of even the most well-intended plans. Well, the first step is communicating with your family. Having intentional conversations about your estate plan helps ensure that wealth transfers smoothly and that your family understands your wishes. This does two things. It can help prevent family conflict by aligning expectations and allow your heirs to work together to create a meaningful impact with their inheritance. Through our family legacy planning process, we help guide these conversations with families, turning wealth into a unifying force instead of a dividing one. And then the second key piece is getting your assets in the right place with the right plan. Frankly, some assets are just more tax efficient to pass on than others. For example, pre-tax retirement accounts like IRAs can create a big tax burden for heirs, whereas donating them to charity allows the full value to be used without tax consequences. Meanwhile, passing on assets with a step up in basis, like taxable investments or real estate, can help heirs minimize capital gains taxes. A well-structured estate plan ensures that the right assets go to the right recipients in the most tax-efficient way possible. Estate planning isn't just about checking a box. It's about ensuring your wealth transitions smoothly, avoids unnecessary taxes, and most importantly, reflects your values. With the right approach, you're not just leaving behind money, you're creating a legacy that truly matters. The biggest risk isn't about running out of money, it's missing out on the life you've worked so hard to build. We've covered some of the biggest mistakes that keep people stuck, but the good news, each one is fixable with the right plan. If you're curious what life actually looks like when you retire with significant wealth, watch this video next. And if you want personalized guidance, we help clients with wealth planning, tax strategy, and legacy conversations every day. You can schedule a call with the link in the description. Thanks for watching.